Hello, good day to you. Today, this demonstration is about SELinux. SELinux stands for Security Enhanced Linux. So this is a system, that implements what is called mandatory access control. So that means, the access control is mandatory for every thing that goes on the system. It is created by the NSA of the US government. Most the major distributions that actually support SELinux, are like the Red Hat based systems, the CentOS and the SUSE. So SELinux implements the mandatory access control by what is called a label. A label, it is an extra attribute, or you can at times it is part of the extended attribute attached to things like files, processes, ports, sockets, even usernames. Everything on the Linux operating system has a label, SELinux label. So the SELinux label is actually made up of I will show you momentarily. So it's composed of user separated by colon, the role separated by colon, type, then separated by colon, then the security context. The most essential part of the label is actually the type. That is the field that we'll be most concerned with. So I put here like the commands you can use to look at the label for various components. So let's look at for a file. Let's go to the terminal. I am running CentOS 7.3. So if you want to follow along, this is the what I'm using, but you can also use Red Hat or SUSE or maybe Scientific Linux and things like that. So let's run ls with the dash uppercase Z option against the etc hosts file. So we see there's actually an extra information that is included here, apart from the normal information that usually comes with a file. Now we have information, this is like I said, the user, the role, the type, and the security context, separated by colon. The user, that's the first one, or the role, the type, and the security context. So, like I said, the field that we are most concerned with is the type. That is the field that you usually have to deal with. A lot of people usually just turn off SELinux because they find it annoying. It's breaks stuff. It doesn't make things work. I think rather than turning it off, we should learn about it and overcome the fear and make use of it to enhance the security of our environment. So SELinux actually have what is called a mode of operation. There are three modes of operation of SELinux. It can be in the enforcing mode, it can be in the permissive mode, or disabled mode. Enforcing mode means it is enabled and it's actually performing the access control. Permissive means that it is enabled, but it is not performing the access control. Disabled means it is completely disabled. If you are writing the something like the RHCE exam, Red Hat exams, you have to make sure that the SELinux mode is enforcing. It is very important, and I will show you how you can do that. So there are various commands that you can use to manage SELinux. I'll be introducing some of them right now. The first one is the SE status. So if I run SE status, it tells me the status of my SELinux. You see, the status is enabled, or then it gives me other things about, you know, the root directory, the SELinux for file systems. So the current mode is enforcing. So mode from file is enforcing. So mode from file, I will show you where the file is actually now, and some other information. You can get information about the mode if you just want if you just want information about, you know, the, you know, if the mode. So it is get enforce actually, or get enforce. So you see it says enforcing, and you can set enforce also. You can set, you know, you can use the set enforce to set, you know, if you want to disable, for example, let's say we want to disable the enforcing mode, we can do set enforce is 0. So if we want get enforce again, you see it went to permissive. But this is not persistent. You know, if I reboot my system right now, it is going to go back to enforcing, because the actual file that actually, you know, is in charge of this is located in RHCE sysconfig SELinux. So here, this file is said SELinux equals to enforcing. So if you are writing the Red Hat exams, I think one of the things they will tell you to do is to make sure your SELinux is enforcing. So this is where you have to come and set the SELinux to enforcing. It is very important so that if you reboot your system, it will survive the reboot. So that's the only information that matters to us right now. See, enforcing. So next, let's talk about the log file. So the log file where, you know, log, you know, that relates to let's use a tail. Let's just tail the log file. It is the var log audit.log. So this is where, you know, information about SELinux comes. So you see things like, you know, for example, right now when we turn the SELinux to permissive, you see here it logged it like SELinux equals to enforcing equals to 0, old enforcing equals to 1, AUUID is 1000, session is 2. So basically this file, if you ever have trouble with SELinux, or if something is not working for you, you should check this file, because at times you see any issues with SELinux will come to this audit.log file. So we can turn back our SELinux on to enforcing by doing set enforce to 1. So if we run get enforce again, no, we are back to enforcing. So let's move ahead and talk about, you know, file. Actually, let me introduce the concept of copying file. So if you are copying file from one location to another, you have to be very careful. You have to be aware of the difference between copy and move. So for example, let's look at the SELinux context, the file context for this file, this popular file or directory, I mean. So this directory, if you have ever done anything with HTTPD or Apache, you should know what this file is. This is the root or the directory, that is the root directory where the pages are served from. So if we run the SELinux, you know, dash with -z option, we can see the label on this directory. The context, the type is HTTPD _6 _content _t. So let's create a file. Let's just say echo I am here. Let's create it in a file called index.html. So let's list the label on this file. So you see the label on this file is user_home_t. So let's move this file. Let's use the move command. Let's say we want to move this file into this directory, the var www.html directory. We've moved it. Let's now run the ls uppercase D on this directory. You see, even though the this index file is now in the HTML directory, it retains, it retained the previous the file context, previous type. This is usually a source of error and source of confusion when you use the move command, especially. So let me remove that file, and let's do it with let me remove it, and let's do the same thing with copy. So let's create the file again. So rather than moving the file, we'll copy the file. Let's copy index.html there, and let's do the listing again. You see, when we do the copy, it took on the SELinux context of the destination. So that's a subtle difference between if you use copy and when you use move. But you can overcome this issue with with the move by using an option. So the move command now has an option. So let's use the move command again, but this time it has an option -uppercase Z, which tells it to keep the to take the file, the context of the destination. So when we run the move, let's do the ls again. So now it has taken on the file context of the destination directory. So this we refer to file context, or it's also just a type, the type field in the label, or you usually hear file context. So that is about the difference between copying and moving a file. So you have to be aware. So another thing I can introduce to you is the restore con, actually. So the restore con, let's do this example again. Let me remove the file from that directory. So now I'm going to actually move. Actually, I have to recreate the file. Let me just recreate this file. Then now I'm going to move it without the -z. So if I do a listing on the file, it has the the source file context. So but we can restore the right file context by using the restore con. So this is where the restore con command comes into play. So if we run restore con on this file, and let's do the listing again, you see now it has taken on the context of the destination. So the restore con is used to tell to restore the security context, the appropriate security context of a file in a particular directory. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any question, you can leave them in the comment section. So let me quickly tell you about this. So if you plan to relabel your system, you want to relabel your entire system. Maybe you feel like everything is going wrong. What you can do is to touch. If you do touch and create an hidden file called auto relabel. If you do this and you reboot your system, it's going to relabel your entire system. So if that is what you want to do, so quickly let me introduce you to SEManage. SEManage is actually one of the most important SELinux commands. So with SEManage, you can list the file context on maybe a particular port on a particular file, so or that is associated with a particular file. So for example, we can run SEManage, or if you run, like I said, SELinux label also applies to port numbers. So let's do list. So let's just run this. You see it gave us a lot of information. So gave us a lot of information. Let us grep, for, let's say, SSH. Oh, sorry, I meant to use grep. So you see, SSH, it told us the security context for, the file context for the port 22. That means if you try to run your SSH on a different port number, it is going to fail if you don't apply the right context to it. Similarly to HTTP. So if you want to run, if you are running HTTP, and this can come out in the exam, they may tell you to make your HTTP listen on a particular port number. If that port number is not among the listed here, it will not start. So if you have tried to, let's say you feel like, I want to run my HTTP on port 8000, it's not going to work if you don't move port 8000, apply this context to port 8000. It's not going to work. So for example, let's say you want to run your HTTP on port 8000. We can achieve that by using the hard option. So and this can work with the tab key. So we want to hard. So we have to specify, okay, we want to add ports, a TCP port, and TCP port 8000. Basically, let me clear my screen so that this is, so if we run this command, port 8000 is not among this list of ports, but we can apply this context to port 8000 so that you can be able to run your HTTP on port 8000. So we have to specify the -t with the context. Okay, so you see, it said port TCP 8000 is already defined. That means 8000 is already defined for a particular service. Let's check what service is that. 8000. So it said port 8000 is already defined for this service, sound dd _port _t. I don't know what this service is or this context it, but let's say I still want to move my port 8000 to HTTP. I can do that by using the modify. Instead of adding, I'm modifying. So now it's going to modify, and it's going to take some time because it's going to write to some files. in the background. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're back. So I thought I lost my connection. So it's going to write to a file. So let's list the HTTP again. So now you see under HTTP, we have port 8000. So that's will allow me to use port 8000 for HTTP traffic. So this is important. Similarly for SSH. So let's look for SSH. So let's say maybe for security purpose, you want to change your SSH, or you want to change your SSH port to maybe port 333, just to basically, improve your security. So we'll specify the type, then the port, is TCP, port number 3333, 4 threes. So because normally if you try to use this port number for your SSH, it's not going to work, but because you need to apply this context, to this port number before it will work. So let's add it. So now we are adding because this port has not been, defined before. So let's list on SSH again. You see, under SSH, this port number appears. So that means if you try to run SSH on this port now, then it is going to work. Without this, it is not going to work. So, it is all, to improve the protection of the system. So likewise, apart from ports, another thing we can manipulate is the file context. This is actually even more important than the port. So if we run -L on the file context, it is going to give us a lot of context. So let's say we just want to see context, that relates to HTTP. Oh, I need to use grep. That's a lot. Let me try to reduce that. Let's say, let me use something like HTML. So so now we see file context, that relates to HTML, and one of the most important ones is the var www HTML. So everything under var www HTML, should have, this secure, this file context, this type. If not, if you try to serve, so for example, let's say in an exam, especially in the RHCE exam, let me tell you that, okay, I'll create a directory under srv, call it www. So we are creating a directory under srv named www. Let's say we'll create we create index file under here. We create an index file under there. So let's do an ls on srv www. So you see this context. If we try to use this file, as our index file for HTTPD, it is not going to work because this context is wrong. So like I showed earlier, the context, for anything that is serving HTML should be this, should be HTTP _sys _rw _content _t. So, but we can add that context, this context right here, or we can add it to the new directory we just created. How do we do that? or SE manage. So SE manage is very important if you are planning to take the RHCE exam, or SE manage F context especially. So the we specify -A for hard and -T for the type. So the type the type is this type. Let me remove this from there. So this is the type, and where do we want to apply it to? We want to apply it, so we'll put this in a double quote. We want to apply it to SRV WW. Then this what I'm writing here is actually a regular expression. So the regular expression, says that anything that starts with /SRV /WW, then that contains maybe another slash, then followed by any other character, and the question mark makes it or is 0, or I think this means a 0 or more. Yeah, one or 0 of this. So if you understand regular expression, I think you should be able to understand this. If not, I think you should learn about regular expression. Basically, this bracket is a group, so it's telling that if this group is repeated, if this group is repeated once, is 0 or 1 time. So that is what this means. So, but this is a regular expression actually. So if you are not familiar with regular expression, you should check it out. So basically, it tells what we are doing here is we are applying this security context, this file context, this type to this directory and any other directory or file below it. So let's run it. It's going to take some time. So this is also, after you do this, actually you have to do one more thing. You have to run restore con. So remember we did restore con earlier, so we have to do restore con recursively. Actually the R is for recursively, verbose, and I think the V stand for verbose. So let's run it. So, and it told us that restore con reset, so it resets the file to the appropriate type, which matches the HTTPD. So I hope you were able to understand that using F context to change the file context of a particular file or a directory. It is extremely important if you are taking the RHCE exam. So yeah, if you have any trouble understanding anything I have said, you can let me know in the comment section. So another package that may be interesting to you is the SE tool. This package gives you this command. This command is SEinfo. SEinfo can give you more information about the security, the label or SELinux label for a port, a file, or anything. Like I said, SELinux label applies to everything on the Linux system. So on my system right here, if I type ID ID-Z, uppercase Z, so you see even my ID, even my username actually has a security, SELinux label. So that shows you that everything has a label basically. And if the label does not match, if I'm trying to start a service, for example, if I'm trying to start a service and my label is not allowed to start a particular service, if that service has a different label that I'm not allowed to start, That's one way to prevent me from starting a particular service. So yeah, before I go, uh, another set of tools that you want to check out is the set symbol and the get symbol. Get symbol, or if you run get symbol -a, these are like booleans. That these booleans also affect the SELinux or perform. I mean, how SELinux performs. So, for example, I know one of the popular one is FTP. So if you run get symbol and grep for FTP, so for example, if you want to allow anonymous user to write to your FTP server, or by default, anonymous will not be able to write, so you have to turn this on. For example, another one is running FTP in the passive mode is off. So if you want to run your FTP in passive mode, you have to turn this on. Or let's say you want to use your home directory, your home directory to, as a TFTP home directory, you see it is off, you have to turn it on. So to turn a particular boolean on, you have to do set symbol, and you have to like the particular boolean, then one means on. So if I run get symbol on FTP again, you see this is now on, but this is not permanent. If you want to make the settings permanent, you have to use the dash uppercase P. So the dash uppercase P will make it permanent. So this is maybe important when it comes to Samba. Actually, I'm not sure if I have Samba. Yeah. So like in the RHCE exam, there's gonna be some question about Samba. You might need to actually turn on some Samba booleans. So you have to be cognizant of these booleans also. So especially these two booleans, actually, Samba exports underscore all underscore read write and underscore read only. You might need to turn on these two booleans. So yeah, I think these are like what I have for you in this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Don't forget the SELinux mode. SELinux mode is important. If you're having trouble in your system and you've tried everything and nothing is working, don't forget to check this log file. This log file will contain the errors about SELinux. The -z, if you want to see the SELinux label for anything, dash uppercase Z is your friend. Yeah, and we talk about SE manage, it's very important. Restore con is also very important. So thank you. I think that's all I have. If you have any questions, let me know. Bye.